Hello and welcome to Alive with Amanda. The other day I posted a poll question in my private practice collective and asked about if people wanted to join a mastermind on starting a group practice. And one thing that I was really surprised with the responses is how many people shared that they still needed help with their solo practice. So that got me thinking because I'm like, how can we best support people that are in private practice and still need help with their solo practice? So I have a couple of thoughts on solo practices and how to best help. There's usually a bootstrap mindset that comes along with being in solo practice. So that means maybe you're making your own website, you're answering your phones, you're doing your billing, you're taking credit cards, you're doing everything, right? You're the clinician, you're the business owner, you're the admin, and you're the biller. And I think that's really tough. I think that's really, really hard. So I want you to think about your practice. Are you doing all of those roles? If you are, think about delegating one of those tasks. Now, you're not necessarily at a place where you want to delegate the clinical work, and you're the business owner, so you're not going to delegate that, and you probably don't have enough money to pay somebody to run your business at this point. So where can you delegate? Can you delegate billing, or can you delegate answering phones? That's usually the place to start. Initially, when I first started, I was a bootstrapper, so I'm with you. I built my own website. It went nowhere. I eventually hired somebody professionally to do it. I was posting on social media. It was taking a lot of time. Eventually, I hired somebody to do that. I always had somebody to help me with billing. And I think that was so important because I didn't know a lot about it. I didn't know anything about billing. I didn't know anything. And having somebody help me do that was well worth their money. Luckily, that person is still with me today, and I'm so grateful for her. And I used to answer my phone calls, right? And I would return calls and I would book appointments until I got busy, right? This happens. And then I had to hire somebody to answer my phones. So that's the number one complaint we get because we answer live calls is that I've called around and nobody answers my calls. Because clinicians, I totally understand, are in session. They have an hour a day, maybe 2 hours, maybe a whole day, maybe it's Friday that they return calls. It's not fast enough and it's not working. Collectively, as a profession and those of us in private practice, that is not working for us. It's such a complaint that people have. And if you want to book more clients, if you're getting a lot of calls and you're not able to book enough clients, so you're getting 5 calls a week and you're only booking one of those because you can't get back to people fast enough, you need to hire a virtual assistant or you need to hire somebody to help you answer your phones. Now let's talk about if you're not getting enough calls. Let's run some really quick numbers. If you are full-time in private practice, I'm going to go with 20 a week because that's a nice clean number. It's not too high, it's not too low. Some people do 25, some people do 15, 20. If you are seeing 20 people a week, you have to account for attrition. So that would be 80 people a month, roughly. So you need to book at least 8 intakes a month to keep your caseload going. And unless you're doing some kind of long-term therapy, but in general, some people come for a few sessions, some people come for a lot of sessions. You need to have at least 8 intakes booked to keep your practice stable. So does that mean that every call that you get in you're automatically booking? No. A good number, to be really, really safe, would be whether you're private pay or your insurance. If you're insurance-based, you probably need less calls. If you're private pay, you need more calls, but is to double that. So you need 16 calls a month. That's 1 call a day for every business day that you're working. And then you book half of those. Yes, I'm making it very simplistic. And you might have a higher conversion rate or a lower conversion rate, whether you're private pay or insurance, but those are general numbers. To give you an idea, we have an office with 4 offices, 1, 2, 3, 4 office spaces, and we have more than 4 clinicians working out there, but roughly what would be equal to 4 full-time clinicians. We get about 125 calls a month to that office, and that gives us enough to fill up everybody in that office. In fact, we have a small wait list, but might be a little bit more calls than we need, but to give you an idea. And so how do you do that? You need more marketing. You need a professionally done website. I can't recommend that enough. You need a Google My Business listing that's fully optimized, directories, Therapy Den, or Psychology Today. And if you really need clients, you want to look at your doing a Google AdWords campaign. That right there, it's like you all are in my head. That's my exact strategy for opening new locations. We have a professionally done website. We put up a Google My Business listing. We get reviews. We put pictures up. We fill it out from top to bottom, product, services, everything. We put up directories, and then we do AdWords, and we get calls going. And that's it. That's the strategy. There are other strategies that are great. If you do something specific, you can hand out business cards. You can stomp the pavement. You can get known. But that is a very succinct and quick way to get referrals. So again, let's review. If you have too many calls, not booking enough clients, you need a virtual assistant. If you don't have enough calls, you need a solid strategy for marketing. Let's talk about one more problem that a lot of solo practices see, but first let's thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes. Thank you so much to TherapyNotes for being so awesome, for making it smooth for so many solo practices and group practices to run their businesses. You can take credit cards, you can send paperwork to clients, you can run reports, you can see what money is outstanding, you can bill insurance directly through there, and they have a free telehealth option. And then the cherry on top is that you can call them, you can get support. So I highly recommend you check out TherapyNotes. So the other thing that I think gets neglected sometimes is making sure that you are sound clinically and that you have a niche, that you're trained in that niche. You have a niche that your community needs and wants. It's one thing to have a niche, right? It's one thing to say, I specialize in play therapy. But you live in an area that is not super populated by children. It is a place where a lot of singles live. It's a place that maybe is a commuter population, whatever it is. So you have a great niche, but it doesn't match your market. I've worked with a lot of people in consulting that had a great idea clinically and they were really solid clinically. But when we did a search in their community using Keyword Planner, it wasn't something people were looking for. And so just by shifting over your niche to match your market and make sure you have the trainings and make sure you're where you need to be clinically, your practice can turn around. So I hope this helps the solo practitioner in building your practice. I'll see you soon, everybody. Bye.